I'm at 3156 Daytona Avenue doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. So we are going in through the stack here. It's this little shed built on underneath, like right outside the steps. You can see this door would go into under the steps, and then you have, there is the opening door to the shed, and then in this direction here, that wall is on the other side of that, and the foundation is the garage. And so you can see this coming down from upstairs, cast iron. And so, cast iron does have a limited lifespan. Obviously it does rust, but this is almost immediately you have some tree roots getting in. There is the cast iron, as it turns, it goes into clay, which is normal for this area, but you do have some root intrusion right here at the turn, the very first joint. And it looks like it's growing down the pipe here pretty good. These are going to have to be cleaned pretty soon. We're hoping we make it through it. Yeah, that's almost half the pipe there. That's a lot of roots. And so I'm not sure. You're going to have that cleaned, and then you're going to have to really pay attention to it and check. Like in this case, you want to have them, if it is cleaned, you want to check to make sure that there is no structural damage below this, because this is an awful lot of roots. Although there are finger roots, this tree is huge next to it, and so you're starting to get larger roots grow down the length of the pipe here. I mean, as soon as you get to the base of the stack, you can see all this, and then my camera is getting up towards the top of the pipe in places to where it's a little rough for me to push it through. And then we have some roots getting in. This is the first connection. I believe we're heading out towards the street, and this should all be clay. Again, we have some root intrusion here at this point. Now, clay does have a lot of connections because they're only in 3-foot sections. And so it is relatively common to have roots in clay pipes, but that first few feet or so was a pretty large amount. So you want to get that taken care of immediately, cleaned, and possibly re-inspected afterwards to make sure that no structural damage has been caused by roots. When they get that big, they can break pipe. And so once you get out past the clay, we have some PVC. And now I don't know if this was used to add on the addition, the plumbing in the addition, and this is just a tie-in, a small area. It looks like that, like there's been a repair made, and I don't see a connection, but it could be right at that turn, because that happens a lot. Yeah, looks like there's a connection from the top. There's just a little bit of an edge right there to the top. So maybe where the addition comes in. There's another tie-in from the left. These do have, this is a combined system, so there are also spots with where downspouts do come into this, so the storm water is connected. So you do want to watch that, because sometimes you can get some, in any area drains or anything, you want to try to keep the debris out, because it will make its way down into the system. As of right now, there's just like these or another large amount of roots. They're growing down into the flow line, and these can very easily catch things. So pretty much so far there's roots the entire length of the pipe. And so I'm not really sure where this runs, but we can try to locate it towards the end. I can try to locate and see where it's going. So far I haven't seen any visible breaks or anything, just a lot of root intrusion, which could be minimal where it's getting through at joints, like I mentioned. And then in those situations, you know, if you keep them small, it's usually just the packing around those joints that have deteriorated over years and allowed, you know, small roots to get in looking for food and water. Obviously that's, you know, this is a pipe full of water and fertilizer, so, and I think it looks like the further we get away from the tree, the roots have dissipated. That looks like a break-in or something to the left. I'm going to try to run some water in the downstairs, or in the addition bathroom. Make sure that this is coming through here, and that way hopefully it'll help me kind of carry that line down the pipe a little bit. We've made a number of turns, and so it's starting to get tough to push already, even at 55 feet. So I'm going to pause the video and go run some water. Okay, so we're running some water here. I'm in the addition bathroom, so hopefully we can get a little help from that water to get this camera down there. And then what we'll do is, once we get all the way down, as far out as we can get, we will shut the water off and see if we can. So we should be able to see better as we pull back. Here we are diving. We could be getting very close to the main. A little bit of roots. See if we can get this to jump. So what we want to do is at least make sure we're off the property, because then anything past the sidewalk is the problem for the Metropolitan Sewer District. We do know already it's going to need a cleaning and a re-inspection, but I'm going to see where we are first. I'm going to pause the video here and turn on the locator, and we're going to see exactly where how far out we are and if we're off the property yet. Okay, so we are just now exiting the garage at this point. And we're only 68 feet out, but we have somehow wrapped around back into the house, picked up some stuff, including the addition, and we can't. And then there's been so many turns, and also because of these roots, it just does not want to go any further. It's all bunching up into the pipe. Without question, this is going to have to be cleaned and re-inspected. And then usually when you have somebody clean it, a lot of times they can also camera it when they're done cleaning it, to be able to see, you know, kind of what the line looks like, because it looks like I'm just barely hitting that spot right there, and it's because it's so far out. There's just a very, very slight offset there, and it's keeping my camera from jumping that little tiny offset. Normally that would not. It would bounce over it really easy, and for some reason, not now. And that's why I keep stopping. I may I've just got it. Let's see if we can get it moving a little bit. We're hoping we can get a little bit of help from this water, but got some movement. That's what we need. I'm going to turn the microphone off here so you don't have to listen to all this noise. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to go find out how far we got. Only got about another 20 feet, which should be about, at least I'm getting maybe halfway down the driveway, but just with all the turns and there's no other access, I'm going to look somewhere. I'm going to look as I pull back also and see if I can see any kind of other access to this line, because it's probably still going to be an issue with this open. Once they get all the roots out of it, it still is going to be pretty hard to push through the entire length of this, just due to the entire, or just due to the number of turns. So we're going to pause the video here I'm also going to shut the water off so that it drains down. We can get a better look on the way back, but there's another offset. This is a very, very minor offset. Wouldn't even be something that I would call out as a defect. But because of how far we're out and how many turns, I can't get anything behind the camera to kind of bump it over that little tiny lip. So I'm gonna this is as far as we're gonna get. So I'm gonna go locate it and then come back and shut the water off so we can inspect the pipe on the way back. Okay, so we've let that dry out. I mean, you can see there's like minimal, tiniest little offset there. Again, I wouldn't even consider that a defect at all. But without having any kind of, and I think it is, I can actually feel the rod from the camera actually just winding up inside the pipe when I push. There's just a lot of spring to it. But this is actually out about halfway down the driveway, so there is still about 20 feet of pipe before it gets off the property, but this is as far as we're going to get for this inspection. Looks like for the most part structurally everything looked good. I mean, as you saw, there was a lot of roots on the way out. More up close to the house. And so we're going to try to look and you know, hopefully we see something and we see another, see an access point or something from above that would be another clean out or something like that, so that we're able to get some access. But I mean, 67, 68 feet. There's just a lot of roots. Again, we have some really big old trees in here, so this isn't really surprising, but and the water is making its way through it all. This just the big ball of roots was right at the base of this stack, and the addition does not come, it goes through the main line, but it does not come through this stack. So, and with it coming down that stack, it has so much speed, and with only 1 or 2 people living here, it's probably been pretty easy to keep clear, or at least keep open. It may back up a little bit but then drain down. But again, I mean, for the most part, I mean, the line looks really good structurally. It's pretty, it seems like it's all held its shape and it's intact. It just needs a cleaning, and then at least the first few feet needs to be re-inspected to see if that really big ball of roots here at the base of this stack has caused any damage. These are all things coming in from the side, and those indicate fixtures. Actually, this one's coming in pretty high, right here to the left. I'm going to go check to see where that is. I'm 25 feet out. So I'm going to pause the video one more time and check this spot and see if I can find out where it is. Okay, this is where it's turning to come back out, and we should be getting really close. This looks like this is the line coming from the like stationary tub and stuff. So we should be coming close to where it's rolling back around to pick up that addition. And there it is. That's back in that, like, there's like a patch crawl space down in there. That's the only connection in there, so that's got to be where they brought in the addition. yeah, I mean the first 10 feet are just ate up here with roots. And they're growing down the line. So I'm worried that at the base of this stack, that connection there's a little bit getting in at the top, and then right here where it turns, there's a bunch getting in right at the base. So I'm worried that line's broke right there at the base, the end of the 90 at the base of this stack here. But again, you would have to clean it and re-inspect it to be able to verify that 100%. So I'm going to recommend a cleaning and a re-inspection. The first 10 feet are really ate up, but it goes out as far as like 67 or 68 feet. There are roots. I made it out to 85 feet, which is only halfway down the driveway, and I would hope that, I mean, the way this thing circles around, it actually starts on the left side of the house, actually goes backwards, picks up a few fixtures, circles around, and then exits through the very edge of the garage, and then comes down the driveway. So the other bad part is there are no other access points along the way. So the first thing I'm going to do obviously is recommend that it be cleaned, re-inspected to check to make sure that the roots haven't caused any major structural damage, and then try to also get down past that 85-foot mark. Without all the roots, it may actually be easier to get the camera on down the line. We should be able to get some form of standoff on the camera, which will allow it to flow or push a little bit easier down the line, especially with some water backing it. So hopefully we would be able to get all the way out, at least to the property line. But structurally, it looked like it was all holding shape. We just have the one concern there at the base of this cast iron stack and this little shed area storage room. So that will end the inspection at 3156 Daytona Avenue.